This episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast is brought to you by pmtlifestyle.com, authentic Muay Thai lifestyle by Pu'u. Definitely go check out the website at pmtlifestyle.com for some awesome lifestyle merchandise. That's for those of you out there either involved in Muay Thai, looking at getting involved in Muay Thai, and embrace a healthier lifestyle to live the life of a Nak Muay. Go check it out.
Sawadee Kop, welcome to this episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast. Today I have Gabe David, pro fighter, who has some awesome stuff coming up. He came down to visit us at Pu'u Muay Thai Santa Barbara to train with Coach Ryan before his next bout, which you'll hear more about here on the episode. If you enjoy the podcast, definitely go check out our affiliate links that we have down in the show notes. Also, check out our merchandise store at pmtlifestyle.com. All that stuff helps support these episodes, and it helps support the Pu'u Muay Thai brand and academy. It means the world to me, so definitely go check that out. Something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I'm trying to continue to do this for years to come. So if you enjoy the content, would appreciate it. Enjoy the episode. So we're here with Gabe David. We're here in Santa Barbara, California, Pu'u Muay Thai Santa Barbara. It's October 30th.
Oh, man.
So I know the year went by fast, huh?
Time is flying, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy coming back after COVID. I know me and you talked a lot. You've been down here since, what, Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday. It's Sunday right now. Come back from COVID, going through fights. How many fights have you had since COVID shut down?
3.
3 fights?
Yeah.
And what was your first fight back from that?
First fight back was September of last year. I fought Chris Piles from Classic. I fought Diego. He was actually, his brother Diego was first person to knock me out. You know, we fought before COVID, pre-COVID. And then, during COVID, I talked to my coaches. We were talking about moving up in weight class and putting on some mass. So, life didn't stop for me. I had access to the gym the whole time. So I put on some weight during COVID for sure.
Those gains, man.
Yeah, I was walking like 175. And then when I got the call to fight Chris, all I did was focus on losing weight.
Yeah.
Still came like a pound over. It was bad. It was not one of my best camps.
Yeah. Well, but it's a lot of people. You had to get that one back after going through. Who did you fight next?
After that, I took a fight on a 4-day notice. I fought Wilson Ha.
Is that the one where you fought up in weight too?
Yeah, I fought like at 55, like where I was.
155 pounds.
Yeah.
And you before, just to kind of anybody that's out there, they don't know, you used to fight at 125 pounds.
Yeah.
Are you like Manny Pacquiao now or what?
Yeah. Manny Pacquiao Muay Thai? Yeah, just fighting weight class. I'm just game. I think I was really excited to just get back in the ring, and for a long time I was just trying to create a life where I can do this full time. Before COVID, it was just my passion became just a hobby, and then I would fight when it made sense, instead of really wanting to fight. Life responsibilities, family, but after COVID, I really did some soul searching and reevaluated my life, and this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I love to do, and so that's why I was just game to take on whatever fight. But getting older, man, it's about longevity, and I'm here for a long time, not just a good time anymore.
Yeah.
I gotta take care of my body. I gotta actually, get, more than just a 4-week camp or a 4-day notice, you know what I mean? But I'm just game to fight. I don't do this for the money. I do it because I love it.
Yeah. So how long you been doing Muay Thai for?
Oh, man, almost 20 years. This October was 19 years. So a long time, Did have like 20 something smokers and, coming up.
For those like for smokers, like when we say that because you're 32?
31.
31.
Yeah.
All right. So for those that don't know what smokers are, because those are kind of like they don't really around anymore.
Yeah.
What's a smoker?
Smoker is pretty much the old school PKB,
PKBs are a smoker, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's like the workaround.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Smokers where you knew who you were going to fight, not the day of. You weigh in the same day, and you just fought once, and we would travel to different academies, to do those smokers.
It was in the ring too. That was the difference.
Yeah,
right?
It was in the ring. Mm-hmm. There was no mats. You know what I mean? There was always a ring that I fought in. I remember doing smokers just back to back. I think it's great what they're doing now, but back then there was no winner or loser. There wasn't a real record of how many smokers you had.
Yeah, people would lie a lot. That was the thing. It's like, how many you got? Oh, this is my first. I only had one, and you find out the guy's like 10.
Yeah.
After you find him, like, damn, that guy's a beast. Then you're like, oh yeah, we found this is when MySpace was still a thing. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's MySpace. Look, all these fights he's had. What the hell?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Do you feel that, between the PKBs and smokers, which one do you think developed better fighters?
Oh man, I think back then, that's what we had. Before amateurs. I think it's pretty cool now. They actually keep track of the experience level, which is great. I think it's all about safety, and I think what's great now is people are educating the community, bringing up the sport, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're still so behind here in the U.S. at least.
Yeah.
Everybody's educated on the sport, on the scoring. So I think it's great now, what they're doing with the PKB and the...
Get people experience and stuff.
Yeah, the MDL,
Well, for the fights, when they're going through, PKBs, right? So you're a pro fighter. You think PKBs, if somebody has 10 PKBs, and then you have somebody who has, one ring fight, you think that's even, or do you think the PKBs count as fights, and the other person doesn't have the PKBs? I'm asking you. This is kind of a loaded question because, for me, I'm genuinely curious, whatever other people's thoughts are on it.
Yeah, if they just have one amateur and legit, that's it. I think it's. I don't think that actually averages out because I think it's all about the experience.
Yeah.
Getting the ring time. My guys who are getting ready for amateurs this year, they have over 8, almost 10 PKBs.
Yeah.
And every time they're tested, we want them tested. At least for my team at Combat, we always we prepare them, and then we evaluate on how they did during their PKB, and it kind of just for the guys I personally train, it's let's see what we do here for this PKB, and then we'll talk about what we need to work on or how you performed. I'm always going to be proud of my guys, but I have goals for them. There's if they're listening well, if they're actually using what we work on in the gym, that tells me where they're at,
Yeah, the PKVs, I remember the first time I saw it, because I saw it popping up. It was, Robert Aldama?
Yeah, I've heard
they have Aldama Muay Thai. It's down in San Diego. Uh-huh. So he was doing PKVs a lot, and I saw semi-contact. I'm like, man, why are these becoming such a big thing? And I brought some people to it. I'm like, oh shit, this is a smoker. Got it. It's not they call it semi-contact, but it's not semi-contact. It also depends on who's running it too.
Yeah.
Right? I've seen them definitely put a clamp down on the contact and stuff from and everything too.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest confusion for people that I've seen, because you competed on the IFMA team for Pan Am's, correct?
Yeah, I've been on the USMF team. I was on the team for 3 times.
Yeah.
I fought in Thailand, I fought in Sweden, and then I bronzed in Peru.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Nice. So when they did the fights, like when you're going through these tournaments, because you fought the first US Muay Thai Open. I just had Thiago Azerado on about like the US Muay Thai Open. That was like I think 2013, right?
It was 2015.
2015, yeah. So yeah, you have those tournaments. Did you ever do TBA?
I did not.
You didn't do TBA?
No, the US MTO was my first tournament style I ever did.
I feel like a lot of people from out here don't make that trip, but like Midwest, East Coast people, that's like the jam.
The TBA.
Yeah. And the people from Canada and stuff like that too, because it's been around so long, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely a different vibe, like in regards to like how everything was ran and stuff like that too. But it's cool. You see all the different teams from like Midwest that don't come out to the West Coast. Yeah. Or that's their only time they compete is at the TBAs.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see like these people. You see like Luc Lassay, who came up through Midwest. He's from Iowa. But one of the biggest things I see happen so like in California, right? We have these different sanctioning bodies. Is the PKBs? They're told, like amateur fighters are told that they don't count on the record, right? And ICAF doesn't report it. Like they don't report those, right? But we no fighters, coaches, they're gonna post pictures and videos of the person fighting, right? So you have US Muay Thai Open and TBA. They count those as experience, right? So let's say you have somebody who has 8 or 9 or 10 PKBs and doesn't know that those count as fights, and then they go into a tournament and then they get bumped up to A class. You think that's like an even trade-off? All of a sudden you have somebody who has 10 ring fights versus like, I mean, if everybody had 10 PKBs and they're fighting against each other in A class, okay, like I see that. But like I've seen it happen where it's like at the scale, the person all of a sudden's like, oh no, you're B class. Like, no, you're fighting with elbows. Like they didn't plan on fighting with elbows.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I think it like, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that at all,
okay,
so.
I brought that up because like some people, they don't know that.
Yeah.
And it creates confusion.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it definitely messes with your fighters.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, definitely, because like they're not preparing for elbows.
No.
They've never thrown them. You know?
And it's like if they had like 2 PKBs, they're still C class. It's fine, right? Yeah. But for some of them, they fight multiple times on those BKBs, right? All of a sudden, it's like, hey, if you had 2 on this one, the 2 on the other one, all of a sudden you're B class.
Yeah, I think you really gotta, I guess, just really separate it. You know what I mean? The experience levels, because it's still different. You know what I mean? Like, if my guy's set to just do C class, no elbows or whatever, like, but then he has a bunch of experience, like, I mean, do I think he's game and ready? Sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think it messes with
my
fighters.
And it messes with the bracketing in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it messes with the bracketing in general, because all of a sudden you have a kid in there who's like, oh shit, like I have to fight with elbows now. I could just pay all this money to travel across country.
Yeah.
I was told back in my home state that I don't have to report these, but then these other sanctioning bodies are saying I have to, right?
Yeah.
And it creates a lot of confusion. So maybe this will be a little memo for everybody out there that's listening.
Yeah.
To a heads up on it too. It sucks to see.
Yeah.
Like it legitimately sucks to see. And that's why I bring it up with people, because they don't know. It's like,
I had no clue.
Hey, well, but that's like one of the things that we adjusted for our team is like, hey, now that we have so much activity here in California, like for ring fights too, it's like, hey, do 1 PKB, like your first one, test them, and then go do ring fights. Because there's so many opportunities to compete in the ring now. It's like, hey, like PKBs are cool. If you had a ring match and the fight got pulled out the week of, or at the scale, or a day of the fight for whatever reason, go by all means go do PKB and get it out, right?
Yeah.
Get like hard sparring. But when we didn't have as many opportunities to compete, all these different promoters that are coming out doing amateur fight nights, having the tournaments, the PKBs fill in the gaps in between. That's kind of the way that we've been looking at it now, because the PKB thing really blew up during shutdowns too. Yeah, like it really, because here in California, since it's deemed semi-contact, they allowed it, which is funny to hear. But I'm glad that happened. It's like, hey, at least we had something.
Yeah, I think it was great for those guys at that level, itching to get back in.
And the newer people who maybe discovered Muay Thai during shutdowns, or maybe they told themselves all the time. We had people, I'm sure you did too, that started training like once things started reopening. Like, man, I always wanted to do it. Then shutdowns happened. I'm like, oh man, as soon as like stuff opens, I'm actually gonna start. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of people start like that. Did you guys have that too at all? Or?
I mean, no. I think our team now that I help coach, there was a solid group of us. There was a solid group of them, and after, I think all those guys, they were always in the gym. They were always training, and then when the PKCB started opening up, when everything started opening up, they were just game. I think they were just game and ready.
Like, yeah, whatever you want to put me in, let's do that. Yeah.
I think it was great too for some of the other guys to start helping coach a little bit. You know what I mean? At where they're at in their level, if like the high level amateur guys.
Yeah.
Kind of helping out. The pros coaching. Now that. Like I have my main coach, but he kind of...
Who's your main coach?
My main coach is George Tutsui. He's one of the pioneers of Bay Area Muay Thai. He's one of the original Furious Five, Fairtex guys. He was trained under Ganyao. His teammates was Wooden Man, John Sanong, Alex Gong, Bunker, I think Jean-Claude. I'm not sure where Jean-Claude is now these days, but So I trained under him. I've been with him since I was a kid. He's like my dad. And, but that's what these coaches, right? They leave it up to their students to take over a little bit, and give them a break. So for George, he just corners and coaches the main, the high-level amateurs and pros. And then...
Are most of those people coaching and stuff too?
Yeah, the pros, myself... My other teammate, Charles Rodriguez, he's fallen glory.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of the podcast. I want to give a shout out to Onnit for their awesome supplement, Alpha Brain, something that I use a few times a week to keep me sharp, on point, for training, for work, business, my personal relationships. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. We have a link down in the show notes. This is our affiliate link for all of their supplements, Total Human Optimization by Onnit. It is an affiliate link, so if you use our link, it does give us some financial incentive, but I will say this, I've been using it for years without any financial incentive. So if you're looking at having enhanced performance, being sharper, getting better rest and recovery, and being able to perform at your highest level, go check out Onnit.
He has taken on the coaching role as well. And then the high-level amateur guys, we'll have another pro. He just went pro, my teammate Anthony McNutt. He made his debut on Fighters Rep. And, he helps out time to time when he can. And then we have another high-level amateur, his name's Brandon. He's actually stepped up a lot. He actually helps me prepare for fights now. So,
hearing that too, this is like one of those things that to get people to understand, because Muay Thai is so you had Ganyao, right? You had George, and then it's like your generation. It's like we're like third generation from like the Thai guys, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are always like, well, where's all the super high level guys, hundreds of fights? Like, dude, we're not there yet, bro. Like, give it like another 10, 15, 20 years with these kids.
Yeah.
Like your godson, they do Muay Thai for a long time. They have like 50 of these like PKBs or YDLs, NDLs, whatever you want to call them, scrimmages, smokers, tournaments. All of a sudden they have 50 or 60 fights by the time they're 18.
Yeah.
Right? That's where you start getting that kind of like deep ball knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. So, when did you start coaching?
Oh man. I think I was like 15, 16. I started helping out with the kids class. My story's pretty cool. I couldn't always afford Muay Thai. My parents paid for it for a little bit. And then I just got of age. Where I
you need a job.
Yeah, you need to start paying for it yourself. And then that's how I paid my dues. I taught the class, and I was always the first one in the gym, last one to leave. I would clean after class every day. You know, I was there. That's where I spent my childhood. You know, I grew up in the gym.
Nice.
So like I started teaching the kids class, and then slowly I started helping out with the adults class with one of my old mentors and teammates. And then time just went on. I continued to fight and get experience and help out, and then I just ended up teaching my own classes.
And then once you got like 18, did you go to college or anything like that? Or?
I tried college. I've done a bunch of different stuff. Actually went to art school. I went to fashion school.
Which one?
I went to FITM.
You went to FITM, okay.
Started in the city, and then I moved out to LA, transferred over. And then, man, I was 21. Like, all I wanted to do was party and fight.
Yeah, and you're in LA and stuff, yeah.
But I tried college, you know, and then it just, I just wanted to train and fight, man. That's all I wanted to do. And then I wanted to be, I guess, you know, I took the route of being in the fitness world. So I worked for like supplement companies, different gyms, just working the front desk, being a personal trainer, things like that, you know.
I can relate. Relatable, yeah.
Yeah, you know, my parents, you know, they, you know, they're old school Filipino, you know. I was kind of the black sheep kid, you know.
Were they like wondering why you didn't have grandkids or what?
Yeah, no, you know, they definitely, right, they didn't think being in the fitness industry was a real job, you know, but they also thought, like, I was just in the Muay Thai gym training, well, you know.
I think you fulfilled the Filipino legacy. You worked in the hospital, too, right?
Yeah, I worked in the hospital. I did that job for, like, 6 years. Man, I just got burnt out. You know, it's great. It was a great gig, you know. But during that time, you know, I also had a family. You know, I was only one working, trying to just support them, be everything I could for them. You know, I worked night shift. You know, so I worked night shift so I can be at home with the family, be a husband, be a dad. You know, and then you know, unfortunately, things didn't work out.
Yeah,
Single
life.
now, you know, life and. You know, with COVID and everything, and I see and do or did a lot in the hospital that most people don't, and I just had a really like traumatic experience, you know, and I just you know, I just started to lose sleep over it.
The traumatic experience at the hospital?
Yeah.
Can you talk about it or no?
Yeah, you know,
what
I
happened?
mean, like ended up working with kids, you know what I mean, seeing some kids, and then. I did CPR on a 2-week-old, and it just like being in a parent role that kind of
it hits different.
It hits different. It messed me up, man. Like I lost sleep over it, and then you know, all I wanted to do was go home and hug my kids. You know?
I can imagine.
Yeah, you know you know, my kids, they're my ex-wife's kids. You know, I had the honor of raising them, you know. Unfortunately, I don't get to see them often. I don't really have much of a relationship with them, but you know, if they know where I'm at, they know I'm around. So, you know, I hope one day when they're old enough, if they want a relationship with me, that'd be awesome.
Cool.
You know,
going into the infant like stuff, I had my family, they're photographers. My mom would get hired. She worked for an organization that would like take pictures of the kids like that were in the hospital, like 2 weeks old, like when they were dying. And she's like, she did it for like maybe 6 months. Like, I can't do that anymore. She's like, that was just, it was too much. Yeah,
it hits different. You know, it's not for everybody. You know, again, like I enjoyed what I did at the hospital, but I didn't love it. You know, didn't love it, and you know, just having the time to myself to just reevaluate my life, and you know, it just brought me back to Muay Thai. You know,
awesome.
It saved me.
Yeah.
I mean, I had. Whether I was, you know, feeling a gap, you know, or a void of, you know, I kept myself busy. I kept myself in the gym. You know, I still had goals. Yeah. So.
Well, kind of talking about, you know, fighting and all that stuff now, you have a fight coming up, right? Yeah,
I'm fighting November 13th. It was the 12th, but it got pushed back a day, which is, it's all good.
Yeah.
But I'm fighting Karchuk. in Tulum, Mexico. I'm pretty excited. I haven't traveled at all since COVID. You know, I've traveled around the state or around California or been to Reno. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's a good time now because it's kind of normal. Did you go to Reno for the PKVs?
We did. That was the first PKV. I went to Reno. Well, it's been two years.
I think that was the beginning of 2000 or end of 2020. I think, or beginning of 2021. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember that trip because we went on the weekend of my birthday. So that was pretty cool. You know, I got to see my guys compete. You know.
It was like after all that stuff, all craziness, right?
It was pretty cool. It was a good time with the team.
So now the travel and stuff like that now too, it's pretty. There's nothing, no remnants of the COVID stuff. Yeah. It's pretty normal now. Yeah. So fighting Kachuk at Rumble in Jungle 4, correct?
Yes.
So I heard that they got. You're gonna be starting at OnlyFans because there's like a sponsorship or something like that.
Yeah. You know, like I mean, everybody. It's so crazy because like my teammates and I, we always mess around.
Like, hey, you gonna start OnlyFans?
Yeah, they're like,
the
they're just like, you know, show your thighs. You know, I always wear, you know, the joke in the gym is, you know, I have the highest shorts, the highest tie shorts on. You know, I hold the record, and then you know, like. You know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but they're like, you're not a bad-looking guy. You can sell some pictures, you know what I mean? So like, that's just like a good joke. But like, getting ready for this fight, found out OnlyFans is sponsoring the fight and everything. They're trying to change, I guess, the outlook on OnlyFans, you know?
Yeah. Well, I guess the whole platform was made originally to be like a competitor with stuff like Patreon.
Yeah.
Right, and it just so happened we talked about this a little bit. It's like it blew up over COVID. Like all of a sudden it was like all the college age girls are getting OnlyFans and posting like titty pics. You know. So posting nudies. So and that kind of became the thing. Yeah. And that's why I end up joking about it. Like, hey man, $20, $20.
Yeah, you know, I always joke around like, subscribe for like 69 cents. You know?
Oh god. Yeah. You know? But seeing the you know, that kind of shift over to it, like you've seen they're sponsoring Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Yeah. I see them sponsoring some other fighters like jiu-jitsu players and stuff like that too. It'll be interesting to see how that all pans out when it comes into like the Muay Thai community and stuff too. Yeah. I think right now, like I was telling you, is the opportunity with it because they want to promote more people that are not, you know, adult entertainment. Yeah. You know, it's stuff they want to push that more. So I think right now it's actually a good opportunity for fighters like you to get on there because they're gonna want to push people like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're trying to get away further and further away from that whole model. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the next, like, I'm going to say like 18 months. We'll probably see if it's going to happen. That'll be when it happens. It's like in the next 18 months, 24 months. So year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But it's just kind of like because like I joked about it. And it's like, shit, man, I'm on OnlyFans. Yeah. Hey, if you listen to this, go subscribe to OnlyFans. Links down in the show notes. But it's just Muay Thai stuff, you know? Yeah. That's the thing. It's just Muay Thai stuff we're already doing. But I think it's a good way for fighters to get support. And one of the ideas, and I threw this idea out there for a lot of people, was for amateurs, you can get sponsorship money. Right? And you're still considered amateur. So I don't know how it goes from a regulatory standpoint, but let's say this fights are being streamed on OnlyFans and they're amateurs and it has their OnlyFans accounts on there and you can tip them for their fights and their performance. So it's another way of doing it. Before OnlyFans was a thing, we were talking about like Venmo. Yeah. You know, like, hey, have their Venmo, like, hashtag, hey, you can scan it on the screen and tip them for their fight. Like, hey, I really enjoyed it. Like, hey, these guys aren't getting paid. If you want to tip them for the performance, whatever, you can. But like I said, I don't know how that works from like a regulation standpoint. But I think you're going to see more stuff like that too come up.
Yeah, I think it's great, man. Being a pro fighter, it's you don't make a lot of money. At least Muay Thai, being a pro Muay Thai fighter, or
you don't make the money from the actual fight. Yeah, it's from sponsorships, from stuff like OnlyFans, Patreon, merchandise, private lessons, teaching, seminars, stuff like that too, right? Yeah. brand deals if you get brand deals.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think like the OnlyFans thing, I can see them independently sponsoring people. I can see that happening very much so, like just like they're doing with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So, and I think I've seen it in boxing, like the guys have like OnlyFans on like their back belt, like when they're in there and stuff too.
Smart.
It's smart. I think it's good business. Business opportunity. So, who are you fighting at Rumble in the Jungle?
I'm fighting this guy, Dan Wilson. I know, tough cat. He's fighting out of Colorado, Easton Muay Thai.
Good team,
Yeah, I know his coach, Sean. I don't underestimate anybody. I just know he's game to fight, which is cool.
Well, definitely game to fight if you guys are fighting with no gloves, with rope on your hand.
Yeah, fighting Karchuk. I know he's fought on Glory. He has some experience, so I'm just excited.
Yeah, it'll be good, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing it and everything too.
Yeah, to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be good. How you liking Santa Barbara?
Oh man, I'm loving it.
Yeah, have you been here before?
I have not. It's my first time here. Running to the beach and just getting that sun. It's nice. It's different. You know what I mean?
What do you think about the location of Pu'u Muay Thai Santa Barbara?
I think it's great. I think it's great. I think the foot traffic for business is great. I know it's not always locals, right? People come here to come visit.
Yeah, it's a lot of tourists.
Yeah, a lot of tourists.
So that's why I'm kind of plugging you right now. It's like, we have the airport 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Would you recommend people come out here and come visit and come check it out?
Oh, absolutely. like for me, I love to be able to like travel and then go train, Like my first time hearing about Tulum, I was just on Instagram looking, what gyms and stuff like that. And then I saw Tulum Jungle Gym and I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. It just makes me want to travel.
That was like
train.
the workout area on the beach, right?
Yeah.
There's like all pulleys and rocks and stuff.
Yeah, and then now Eddie Farrell and his wife Brooke, now they're out there and they opened up Tulum Muay Thai and they brought Thailand to Tulum and I think it's awesome. You know what I mean?
And for Mexico, they've really been building the infrastructure. They have the infrastructure from boxing.
Yeah.
And then there's WBC Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So they already have that infrastructure. And they've been working on building their ring officials down there. And they have all this stuff. They have the rings. They have the ring officials. They have the gloves. They have the, less red tape. And it's, for us going from Santa Barbara down to Tijuana, for example, it's like, hey, a 4-hour drive without traffic, right? Or you can even take the train down there from here. Right at the bottom of State Street, there's a train that goes all the way to the border.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I think it's one of those things that a lot of people don't realize, especially if they're newer to Muay Thai, when it comes into pro, like how much red tape there is to fight.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Especially in the States too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's cool that we have these opportunities, less red tape, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. For the Tulum Muay Thai fights and stuff like that too. I know there's a couple other matches on there. I heard rumors about the WBC Muay Thai Mayan belt being on there with Eddie Farrell. So I don't know the fight order yet, but hopefully you get to watch that a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Like these guys are, because Brooke and Eddie, they had the gym in Phuket. It's like all of a sudden, I remember seeing them travel. I'm like, where the fuck are they going? Mm-hmm. The next thing you know, they're in Mexico, and opening up a place there, and then all of a sudden becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Right. And next thing you know, we're all going down to Tulum to go fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what they're doing and what they've done, I think it's amazing. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be more places like that, know. At least, for me, again, personally, if I had the opportunity to travel and go visit these gyms, of course, Thailand, right? Everybody wants to go.
People need to go to Thailand.
Yeah, go to Thailand, experience Thailand, but to experience Thailand, but not in Thailand too.
And then you're in Tulum.
Yeah,
and it's not as long of a travel for us Americans.
Yeah,
and it's
and it's not as expensive of a plane ticket.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends.
It
does
depends.
depend. Yeah, it does depend. So as I know they were talking about the date of the event, they moved it around a couple, like looking at plane tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. I think the plane ticket around like Thanksgiving was just as much as it was more than a round trip ticket to Bangkok.
Oh wow.
From LAX.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was like an extra it was like $600 more. But it's because so many people travel there.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what it is. And it's just the airlines being like, oh, all these people are going there. Let's just upsell it because they're gonna buy it anyways.
Yeah.
Because they want to go to Tulum. But again, they're not. You don't have to travel 20 plus hours or whatever to get over there.
Yeah.
And then they didn't have a lot of the COVID restrictions too.
Yeah.
So like we really saw Tulum blow up. Obviously, I think that's one of the reasons that influenced Eddie and Brooke to end up in Mexico also.
Yeah.
You know, being Australian, and they had like some of the strictest like lockdown measures, and they had their dog.
Yeah.
That they couldn't bring in. It was like a whole mess,
Yeah.
man. I know I've spoken to a lot of Australians who were just like they couldn't get back home. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
But dark time in history. Hopefully we continue putting that behind us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For anybody that's getting started in Muay Thai, let's say like a young adult that doesn't know like these things that we're talking about, the whole picture of like the sport, what's some advice you would give them?
Man, just ask questions. You know, there's no, dumb question. I mean, there is, but if you really enjoy the sport and want to like give yourself to it more, talk to your coaches, actually just educate yourself, get as much experience as you can, and just show up to the gym.
There's a lot of knowledge too that's out available now. Like we were talking about it, like YouTube wasn't a thing 12 years ago, like like even then it was barely starting, especially for Muay Thai content.
Absolutely. You got OnlyFans now.
Yeah.
Like, you can educate people on there.
Yeah, who needs YouTube when you got OF,
Yeah.
So going into, for like Muay Thai, there's a question I always like to ask people.
Yeah.
And I think I know what it is, just based upon your fight stance, but left kick or right kick?
Ooh. I mean, if you guys know me, I'm coming with a left.
Yeah.
That's no secret.
Yeah. But for me, I'm orthodox. I'm still all about the left kick.
Yeah.
So I feel you, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool. For those that want to follow your team, how can they find you?
They can find me on my IG at _Gabe David _. You can also follow me on our team, Combat Fitness 98 on Instagram, and then hopefully soon on OnlyFans.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'll put the link down in the show notes. Again, here with Gabe David fighting on Rumble the Jungle 4 in Tulum, Mexico, November 13th, 2022. Fighting against Dan Wilson from Easton Training Center. I talked to you a little bit. I was like Team Sui. Like I didn't know much about it, but I always was like they always have badass fighters. Easton always has badass fighters, so I'm looking forward to seeing this fight, man. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a comment, review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you're listening to this on YouTube, drop us a comment. Also, I know everybody's got their own things going on out there around the world for our audience. We've had people reach out to us from everywhere. I want to know, what are you struggling with right now? It doesn't have to be Muay Thai related. You can always reach out to me at Pu'u Muay Thai on Instagram. You can reach out to me at Jonathan Pu'u on Twitter or on the Muay Thai community Discord. Have a great day.